I absolutely got to hit y'all with some GameFi news, as there's no metaverse without Web3. NFL crypto video game draws closer, and Avalanche parent company to launch first Web3 game in 2023. And for our first story, Animoca Brands CEO says there is no metaverse without Web3. Well, what he's trying to say here is that in order for this dream of the metaverse to take off, we need significant Web3 infrastructure underneath it. What does that look like? Well, for example, we got to put on this really expensive, bulky headset with a local computer just to have like a kind of semi-okay experience. And so we need decentralized compute power, and we need the technology to catch up with our dreams. We also need the DeFi integration. We need payments and processing. We also need third-party decentralized applications in the space. So there's reasons to come to the metaverse. Like, why would I want to go to the metaverse? Well, that's where all my friends are. That's where the cool games are. That's where all the money is. That's where all the hot babes are. And they come because there's fun stuff going on. And that involves third-party companies innovating and taking some risks in the space. NFL crypto video game kickoff draws closer. My nieces and nephews, this is what mass adoption looks like right here. It's when these big billion-dollar franchises start playing the game, when marketing and advertisers tell us what we should like and dislike. That's when mass adoption takes place, because you're not cool unless you have an NFL team you're rooting for, and you're not cool if you don't play fantasy football, and soon it's going to be you're not cool unless you don't have these collectible NFL NFTs. And so I'm going to see commercials during the Super Bowl. Advertisers and marketers are going to be pushing all kinds of digital collectibles, NFTs, down our throats. Cryptocurrencies abound. Web3 is the future. Got to think on 5 and 10 year time scales, and mass adoption looks a little bit like this. Avalanche parent company Ava Labs to launch first Web3 game in 2023. What I find really exciting about this is Avalanche is like a lesser known cryptocurrency. Not a lot of people know about Avalanche. It's not a big player, yet it's innovating, and it even has its own studio developing a Web3 game with plans for 2023. And this is even during a bloody, gruesome, horrible bear market. Still, small, lesser known coins like Avalanche are developing and innovating, which gives me hope for the big players like Ethereum, Solana, Polygon. Those are the big boys. And so if Avalanche, a smaller, lesser known coin, has a thriving play-to-earn game ecosystem on its back and it's developing its own games, if even they're doing that, then that means I have high hopes for the big players, and the future looks bright for play-to-earn games, Web3, and cryptocurrencies in this next bull cycle. Japan is losing its place as the world's gaming capital. It has to do with decentralization. No longer are we developing games in one place in one time zone. We have 24-hour round-the-clock developments. A game that's developed in America then gets passed off to Europeans as they go to bed. The Europeans pass it off to China as they go to bed. And then China passes it on to America as they go to bed. We're developing around the clock in a decentralized way, and that is what Web3 is going to look like, where we're passing off shards around the world, across time, across the planet. Every single day, we are connected as one with a single heartbeat. That's Web3. Yet, GameFi projects are developing in Japan through this YGG partnership. So Japan is not going to be in the number 2 or number 3 spot for long. And I think they're going to use Web3 to slingshot themselves back into that number 1 spot. So I'm not concerned about you, Japan. You're going to do good. Domo arigato. Web3 gaming is still a long way from mainstream adoption. Yeah, that's true. This takes us back to the infrastructure conversation again. People only do things that are fun. I want to go hang out with my friends, and my friends want to go do something fun, right? And in order for us to go to the metaverse, there needs to be like a fun thing that draws us in. Dingleberry 6 is there, or Hellfire 6000, that new cool game everyone's playing. The only way to play it is in the metaverse. So I have to interact with this medium we call the metaverse. I think that name's probably going to change in the next 5 to 10 years, but we have to go to this Ready Player One Oasis-esque medium in order to interact with the games we want to play. And that is just Web3 infrastructure. Once we have these third-party games developing, innovating, taking risks, shots in the dark, that whole idea of like 1,000 monkeys in a room on typewriters, once in a while a miracle will happen. The same thing will happen once we've got thousands of video game developers in their parents' garages dreaming up things we've never thought of before, and then requiring you to play that game in the metaverse. That is when mass adoption will take place.